Meteorologist Erika Lopez here in the KHOU Weather Center at our Avenida studio, giving you guys the latest update on Hurricane Dorian. So here's a look at where the system is right now. It's still a Category 1 hurricane. Wind speeds sustained at 85 miles an hour. But I want to chat about the latest forecast cone, who's in the path of this system, what does it mean for us here in Houston, and kind of go a little bit more in depth in the forecast. It's moving at northwest at 13 miles an hour right now. So it's about 250 miles, I would say, northwest of Puerto Rico, which, by the way, Puerto Rico got spared from a lot of damage. The center of circulation did make its way through Virgin Islands yesterday. That did bring Category 1 hurricane force winds for the areas, but Puerto Rico was actually on the cleaner, safer side of this system. But because of that, believe it or not, that makes a huge difference as to what it's going to do for us as far as the United States goes as the system continues to move through. So it no longer has any land that it's going to interact with, no terrain to help tear the storm apart, which is why the previous forecast, if it was moving through Puerto Rico, then we were expecting the storm to be a little weaker, at least in the forecast track. But now, because of the fact of the lack of terrain it's interacting with, well, it has a chance to gain strength quicker. And we are expecting that to be the case. I think by tomorrow morning, we'll be chatting about Dorian as a major hurricane, a Category 3 hurricane, possibly already by tomorrow morning. And notice the wind speeds, it continues to increase as we head into this weekend. So this is something that has changed. The timing of this forecast track, meaning that yesterday we were expecting landfall as a major hurricane, Category 3, sometime around late Sunday. So that track has moved a little bit slower. Now we're expecting forecast landfall possibly as a Category 4 hurricane on Monday. Because of the fact that the system is expected to move a little slower, it'll have more time to pick up strength, and which is why we are expecting it to be a little bit stronger, as it does make landfall somewhere along the Florida coast, excuse me. I do want to pinpoint the cone of uncertainty and how it expands over the state of Florida. That is showing that the forecast is quite iffy once we get closer to Florida. We are not quite certain what exactly is going to happen. I can't tell you what most of the models are saying, but a lot could change with this as we get closer to the system. So let's talk about the latest spaghetti models, because this has even changed from our latest advisory. Some of these models are actually taking this storm back into the Atlantic, but notice all of the models are moving up the state of Florida. Some of them are kicking it into the Gulf of Mexico very briefly, and then moving back into the state of Florida, making its way through Georgia, the Carolinas. So that's why there's a lot of uncertainty once we get closer to landfall with Florida. Only time can tell as this system does approach the area. What we do know so far is that we are expecting major hurricane making landfall this weekend, Labor Day weekend. Keep in mind, it is Labor Day, a 3-day holiday weekend, but it will likely make landfall on Monday somewhere along the eastern Florida, Texas coast. I've had lots of questions on social media regarding what does this mean for us? Does the system have a chance to make its way into the Gulf of Mexico? Now, the answer is it has a chance. Right now, those chances are not likely, as we are pretty confident with all of the models keeping it maybe into the extreme eastern portions of the Gulf of Mexico, but our steering currents are shifting this track northward. So that is what's going to save us from any impacts that we could have possibly had with the system as far as Houston goes. But it is going to be a pretty busy holiday for folks across Florida. If you have any loved ones in Florida, please make sure they are up to date. We'll have the latest advisory with the latest forecast cone coming out from the National Hurricane Center at 4 p.m. So right on time for the 411. You can tune in to KHOU. We'll have your live update on there. We'll make sure to keep you up to date on social media and on khou.com/weather. So stay tuned as we track this hurricane that could possibly make landfall as a major hurricane this holiday weekend for the state of Florida.